All right, Socrates the Republic, written by Plato, is a dialogue between Socrates and the other Greeks or his Greek counterparts about whether or not people live justly because that's what makes them happy, according to Socrates, or according to them, they live justly because they're scared of the law, the gods, or even their own weaknesses. However, they think that most people would live unjustly if they knew they would never get caught in order to gain the most out of this life and live this life to the fullest. Now, Socrates employs a political assessment of government, starting with a fictitious government where he sets up classes of people to show that living justly is not only good for the person, but it's essentially good for the whole governed body. Now, he advances that all justice is derived from good teaching or philosophy at a young age. So if we teach young people to do what's right and only show them the right way, they don't know any different. They don't desire a different road. Now, would a person truly choose to live justly if they knew they would never get caught living unjustly? This is a moral question that Socrates would say that philosophy can answer. Ultimately, Socrates argues that this is a philosophical problem because the teaching and entertainment is what persuades or pushes a person or city to go in a different direction other than justice. That one generation leading another generation eventually leads you away if there's not proper things set up in its path to teach someone the right way. That his teaching on the first city was a very strong way to prove that the lessons mankind learn when they're young shape who they become. Now, I think the argument made for justice is valid. I think it truly is best for society if we maintain the idea of staying in our own business. If we want to stay on our own track and look the same way, I think that's probably a pretty good way to explain justice. But I'd also like to add that I think Socrates even discussed it, but he didn't really make this a point. But he didn't emphasize necessity for me to share and to serve others with what talents that I've been given. Just as if I was the only carpenter to live and I'm the only one who knew how to build a house, it would be unjust for me not to teach others or younger people how to do that particular job. I can agree with how he set up the city to be a city that was not focused on possessions, including family and material things. Now, I would say it's probably unorthodox, but I do understand the point that he's trying to make. It takes the word mine. And I think that's happened in our culture today. As we look in America, we've turned into a me culture. And a me culture ultimately leads to unjust living. It leads to an abundance of things outside of moderation. It leads to lies and deception and things like that. And so I think he was on the right track here. Although it does look like a dictatorship the way that he set it up. And I don't know that that's necessarily bad, because in heaven we know that Christ is going to lead and we're going to follow, and it's going to be a perfect place. But the problem is with people can be persuaded. And so with regard to man and how he examined the city, I would agree that we're made up of three parts: the bodies, the soul, and the spirit. Now, I know that we have a better knowledge because we walk with Christ, but Socrates done a great job explaining the three parts of man and even using the city to compare such. When you look at the body, or the appetitive, the workers, the working class people, it's our basic instincts. It's the needs and desires that we have. The spirit is the middle class. It's the guardians. They guide, they give direction to our reason, which is the last part, our soul. And so they help us, guide us in direction, because as we're young, we learn, we grow, and then we move in that direction in order to overcome our reason, or overcome our appetites. Reason overcomes that through the guidance of the Spirit. So I thought that was something kind of neat. Now, a couple questions that I would like to ask. As you were reading, did you notice Socrates' emphasis on indoctrination and philosophy, especially with our youth? Is democracy not playing out to the tyrannical, where our freedoms have bound us today in today's time because of the indoctrination of our youth by lazy parents and teachers looking to pacify our children? I'm not sure that the question was ever answered at the very beginning that was asked in book 2. And I would love to hear from you if you think that people can truly be satisfied living a just life beyond religion, laws, or fear.